back to the Hebrew Learning Center in West Africa, Adugrum, Ghana. In today's topic, we will be discussing the Hebraic meaning of worship. What one considers as worship or worshiping today has been wildly misinterpreted due to mainstream religious doctrines and philosophies. What does it mean to worship? Or how should we view worshiping today? That's what we're going to seek to find out, according to the Hebraic understanding. When we enter into our building to gather and to learn of our Most High, would one consider that as worshiping? Or when we sing songs unto our Most High, would you consider that as worshiping? Well, according to Merriam-Webster's dictionary, worship is defined as reverence paid to divine being or person of importance. A form of religious practice with its creeds and ritual, extravagant respect or admiration for or devotion to an object of esteem. From my understanding, Merriam-Webster's dictionary definition of worship, if one does enter into a building to reverence their Most High, or if one did sing songs unto their Most High for devotion. And if a person celebrates a holiday out of respect for that Most High, they would be considered as worshiping today. But how did the ancient Hebrews view worship? Well, the Hebrew word shachah, that's shachah, Hebrews 78:1-2, has been translated as worship 99 times within the KJV text. The Hebrew word shachah, Hebrews 78:1-2, has two pictographs. The first being of the teeth, which actually means or is a representation of something that is sharp or sharpness. We use our two front teeth to bite down on whatever food or whatever enters into our mouth. So we use those two sharp teeth to cut down. The other pictograph is of a wall. So we have the two front teeth, representation of sharpness, and then we also have a wall. When these two are combined, it means sharp walls. A pit is dug into the ground for the purpose of trapping someone or something. That's why a pit is actually dug. So, to give it to you in plain form, to go down or sink down as going into a pit. That's how they viewed shachah, or what we see as worship today. To sink down or to go down as if one was going into a pit. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go into a few scriptures today to get a better understanding on how to utilize the Hebrew word shachah, or how to utilize the word worship in its proper context when we read it within text. We're going to start off in 2 Chronicles chapter 7 verse 1. That's 2 Chronicles chapter 7 verse 1. And it says, "Now when Solomon had made an end of praying, the fire came down from heaven and consumed the burnt offering and the sacrifices. And the glory of the Most High filled the house. And the priests could not enter into the house of the Most High, because the glory of the Most High had filled the Most High's house." Verse 3. "And when all the children of Israel saw how the fire came down, and the glory of the Most High was upon the house," very important here, "they bowed themselves with their faces to the ground upon the pavement and worshipped." That word worship worship there is the Hebrew word shachah. And what does it mean? To sink down. Well, what's another form of sinking down? It says they bowed themselves with their faces to the ground upon the pavement and worship. That's actually the definition of worship. To bow down with your face towards the ground. Your knees on the ground and your face towards the ground. And I'll finish off the verse. "And praise the Most High, saying, for he is good, for his mercy endureth forever." So, shachah, it actually means to bow down on your knees with your face towards the ground. Now, some may ask, well, is worshiping praying? Well, they basically go hand in hand. All right? When one prays, they also kneel down with their face towards the ground. Now, the difference is some may pray with their hands up. However, their knees are still on the ground and their face is towards the ground. But some may have their hands up. And some may actually go all the way down with their hands and their face towards the ground. That would be the difference. Also, if you're worshiping or sinking down before someone with your face towards the ground, it does not necessarily mean you are praying. Does not mean you're praying if you're kneeling down before someone. And we see this throughout text, and we're going to read a few. However, when you are praying, you're doing the exact same thing, if that makes any sense. Let's go into Genesis chapter 23, verse 11. And it says, "Nay, my master, hear me. The field give I you, and the cave that is therein. I give it you. In the presence of the sons of my people give I it you. Bury your dead." Verse 12. "And Abraham bowed down," meaning Abraham shechah. That's the Hebrew word shechah. That's Hebrews 7:8-1-2, which actually means to get down on your knees with your face towards the ground. So it says that Abraham bowed down, he shechah, which is translated as worship, himself before the people of the land. So he got down on his knees and kneeled down before them with his face towards the ground. That's the actual Hebraic understanding of worship and how we should view it today. Nehemiah chapter 8 verse 6. Let's go through a few more. However, let's go into Genesis 24 first. We're going to go into Genesis chapter 24 verse 51. Genesis 24:51, it says, "Behold, Rebekah is before you. Take her and go, and let her be your master's son's wife, as the Most High has spoken." Verse 52, "And it came to pass that when Abraham's servant heard their words, he worshiped the Most High," meaning he shechah. He got down on his knees with his face towards the ground unto the Most High HaYah, bowing himself to the earth. So when you bow down before someone, or when you bow down before the Most High, that would be considered as worshiping. Okay? Not singing songs, not celebrating a holiday, or not just entering a building or for a gathering. No, it is to bow down before the Most High with your face towards the ground, as we are seeing within the actual text within its Hebraic form. Let's go into Nehemiah chapter 8 verse 6 now. We're going to read Nehemiah 8 and 6, and it says, "And Ezra blessed the Most High." Now, bless is kind of similar because it's in the knee family, I would say. That word bless is actually barak in the ancient Hebrew, and that word actually means to kneel. It means knee. It means to kneel down. So when you kneel down, you give a gift before the Most High. Well, that's what it actually means to bless him. You kneel down and you give him a gift. You present the king or the one on the throne a gift. So it says in Ezra's barak, he got down on his knees to present a gift unto the Most High, the great Most High. And all the people answered, "Amen, amen," with lifting up their hands. So they had their hands lifted up, right? They had their hands lifted up, and they bowed their heads and worshiped the Most High with their faces to the ground. That is shechah. They worship, they shechah the Most High with their faces towards the ground. However, they had their hands up and their heads down, and they were on their knees. That's how you worship the Most High. And that's how we should view it. Let's go into Psalms chapter 5, verse 7. It says, "But as for me, I will come into your house in the multitude of your mercy, and in your fear will I worship towards your set apart temple." Okay, so David is saying, I shechah. I will bow down with my face towards the ground, towards your set apart house in prayer, towards your set apart house. Knees on the ground, face towards the ground. Psalms 95 and 6, it says, "Oh come, let us worship and bow down. Let us shachah. Let us shachah," as if we're sinking down to go into a pit. Let's put our knees on the ground with our faces towards the ground and bow down. Let us kneel on our knees. Let us kneel before the Most High, our Maker. What is David doing? He's worshiping. He's shachah. He's sinking down, lowering himself to go down in the pit unto the Almighty King that sits upon the throne. Last one, let's go into the New Covenant. We're in the book of John, chapter 4, verse 20. Chapter 4, verse 20 says, "Our fathers worshiped in this mountain." So the woman is saying, our fathers shachah. Our fathers sunk down, they bowed down with their faces towards the ground in this mountain. And you say that in Jerusalem is the place where men ought to worship, where men ought to have their face towards the ground. Yeshaya, or some say Yehoshua, says unto her, "Woman, believe me, the hour cometh when you shall neither in this mountain nor at Jerusalem worship the Father," or shachah, sink down with your face towards the ground before the Father. Verse 22, "Ye worship ye know not what," meaning you kneel down before whom you know not. You don't have a personal or intimate relationship with him. As we continue, we know what we worship. So the Messiah is saying we know who we kneel down before. We know who we bow down before with our faces towards the ground. We have a personal relationship with him. For salvation is of the Jews. Salvation is of Israel. Verse 23, "But the hour come," the hour is entering, and now is when the true worshipers, so listen, the true worshipers, true meaning something that is amet, something that is firm, like a nail in the wall. So those who truly are firmly kneel down before him with their faces towards the ground shall do so, or shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth. That truth we know is the law. That spirit we know is the spiritual law through the teachings of the Messiah. So those who truly worship him, those who truly kneel down before him with their faces towards the ground, will do so in following the teachings of the Messiah on how to follow the law of the Most High HaYah. Let's continue. "For the Father seeks such to worship him." The Father is seeking those firm individuals who will kneel down with their faces towards the ground to serve him. Verse 24, "The Most High is a spirit. He is a ruach. He is a wind. And they that worship him," or those that kneel down before him with their faces towards the ground, "must worship him in spirit." You must do so in the wind, the set apart wind, and in truth, while following the law and the teachings of the Messiah. I hope everyone was able to get a better understanding on how to view the English term worship within the text today by using or utilizing the Hebraic understanding of shachah, Hebrews 7:8-12, which is to sink down as if one was going into a pit, lowering themselves on their knees with their faces towards the ground. Shalom.